Hi, welcome back to this third video for Unit 9A, Day 1, Circumference and Area of Circles. And we're going to finally start looking at circumference and area of circle. Your circumference is the distance around the circle. So it's kind of like if you think about perimeter around a polygon, circumference is the same as perimeter. It's around the edge. And then your area is the filled-in space inside the circle. For circumference, there are two formulas we can use. Circumference equals pi times the diameter, so all the way across, or circumference equals 2 times pi times the radius. So remember, 2 radii make 1 diameter. It's just a different way that they write it. Okay? And the reason they write it this way is because you always, when you're putting letters, you always put numbers first, and then you put numbers that represent something, like a conquer the same number every time would go next. Then you put variables, okay? And then followed by that, if we ever had a square root, the square root would go last, okay? So 2 pi r is the way we write this, and then pi d is the way we write this one, but really they're going to give you the same answer. And then area is pi r squared. These formulas do not have to be memorized because you always have access to a formula chart, okay? All right, so my first example says find the exact circumference and area of the circle, then round to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so let's start with circumference. Notice in this picture they gave me the radius. So since they gave me the radius, I'm going to use the formula that has the radius. And I'm going to say circumference equals 2 pi r. So my circumference equals 2 times pi times my radius. So my circumference equals 2 times, I'm going to do 2 times 13, 26 pi. Okay? Then I can put that in my calculator. Now when we put that in the calculator, if you turn your calculator, your phone sideways, you should have a little pi button. Okay? It's going to be on your scientific calculator. So you should have a pi button. And you can do, we're doing 26 pi. So I'm going to do 26. Now if I just do 26 pi and I hit enter, I don't think that's 26 times pi, right? Because pi is 3.14. That's not 26 times that. So we want to make sure we're doing 26 times pi. And then we hit enter and I get circumference. And I'm going to put a little squiggle equals because it's not exactly equal to this because we're rounding. And it says to round to the nearest hundredth, which is 2 spaces. So 2 spaces after the decimal is going to be 6/8. And then I look at 1 after that and I say, okay, that's a 1, so I don't have to round it up. So 81.68 is going to be my answer. If for some reason you can't find a calculator that has a pi button on it and you just use 3.14, then you're going to have 26 times 3.14 and you're going to get 81.64. Okay, so when I look at this, it says find the exact circumference, then round to the nearest hundredth. So notice these two answers are a little bit different because when we round, depending on the second one, we rounded pi, 3.14, and then we rounded our answer, right? So this is a rounded number, more so than this one. But both of these have been rounded. They're both correct, but they're not exact. The exact answer is going to be my 26 pi. So this one here is exact. What's really nice about exact is you don't have to worry about the pi button in the calculator, right? And then these two are both rounded. They're both correct. They're both approximately the circumference around that circle. Okay? Let's look at the area. Area equals pi r squared. So my area equals pi times 13 squared. So when I put that in the calculator, the 13 squared times pi. Then I'm ready to put that in, and remember I can do it two different ways. I can use my pi button, so I'm going to clear out my old answer and I'm going to do 169 times pi button, and I get area equals 530 point, I look at two places because we're going to the hundredths, 92, but then after the 2 is a 9, so I'm going to bump that up to a 3, so 0.93. If I use 3.14, I get, I'm going to put approximately equal to, so see how they're different? Because they're using rounded answers. That 3.14, when you multiply it, when you multiply by a rounded number, you get even more rounded. Okay, so that's why these two are different. My exact answer is the one that still has the pi attached. This one is exact. And these are both correct. They are both rounded. Okay? Let's look at these next two problems. Find the diameter and the radius of a circle with the given circumference. So this time they've given me the answer, the circumference, and I'm going to work backwards to find my diameter and my radius. And it's just to round to the nearest hundredth. Okay? All right, so when I look at this one, circumference equals 40. And I'm going to need to find the diameter and I'm going to need to find the radius. So I'm going to just go with this first formula, diameter, because I know once I find the diameter, then I can just go back and find and divide that answer in half to get my radius. Okay? So if my circumference equals 40 and my formula is circumference equals pi times d, I'm going to put a 40 in for my circumference, and that equals pi times d. So to get rid of the pi that's being multiplied to the d, right, it's pi times d. To get rid of that, what I need to do is I need to divide both sides by pi. Okay, when I divide both sides by pi, let me grab my calculator here. I'm going to do 40 divided by pi. So 40 divided by pi is going to give me that d equals, I'm going to round to two places, 12.73, and after the 3 is a 2, so I don't have to round it up, 12.73. So then to find my radius, I just have to divide that in half, right? So I'm going to take this answer and I'm just going to hit on my calculator, divide by 2. And I get a radius of 6.3. 6.36, but after the 6 is another one, so that's going to round it up to 6.37. And these are inches, so these should also be inches. And since we rounded, since we used the pi button in the calculator, we probably should put they're approximately equal to. Okay, because I could have used the 3.14. Right? I could have said 40 divided by 3.14. 40 divided by 3.14 gives me a diameter that is about 12.7. After the 3 is an 8, so I'm going to round up 7/4. And then divide that in half. And D is about 6.3. Oh, I still round up, so I still get 6.37. So in both cases, I'm going to get the same radii, but I get a little bit different diameter depending on if I use the pi button or 3.14. But, oh, that should be an R equals 6.37. Okay? All right, come on back in the next video and we'll do the second example in this section, and then we'll also do examples 3, 4, and 5. Thanks so much for watching.